Noses. We're gonna draw noses, and they are, honestly, I think noses are one of the hardest things to draw on the face. Let's talk first about the structure of the nose. Your nose is kind of shaped like a cone. And I'm gonna draw this nose and you're gonna go, this is not what a nose looks like. But just bear with me, okay? So imagine you've got a cone, right? At the bottom of this cone, there's sort of a round ball at the end. And there's two little holes on the side and kind of like two smaller round parts here. That's the basic shape of a nose. Up here would be where your eyes are. Here's the bridge of your nose, like where your glasses would be. Your nose points out and sticks out at you right here, and here's your nostrils where you breathe. But if you were to draw a nose like this, it would look ridiculous. Just like you've probably seen, or maybe you've done before, like I'll see students or kids try to draw a nose and they draw every little line that they could possibly think of that should go with a nose, and they end up drawing something like this because they recognize that this is kind of what the nose is doing. It's got these sides and it's got these parts and it's got the nostrils, and it ends up just looking really wrong. We don't need to draw all these as a harsh line, but we can still indicate the structure of the nose with fewer lines. So I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to start with the bottom part of the nose. In fact, the very bottom, the bottom of this middle roundest part. Let's go over here. So I'm going to make the bottom of this round part, and it almost looks like I'm making a teeny tiny smiley face. Like when I demonstrate this and there's already eyes in the face, it looks like I've drawn a tiny smile. Here, I'll put the eyes. Just put some little basic eye shapes right up here somewhere. So that looks like eyes with a tiny smile, and it looks kind of ridiculous. But that's not the mouth, it's the nose. Next, we're gonna do the nostrils, but instead of making like a black hole, we're just gonna put the top line of the nostril so that it's indicating the nostril is there, but we can't see right up into it unless in your picture the person's not looking straight at you, but they have their chin tipped up and you're looking up their nose. You wouldn't really see like this dark chasm of a nostril. You might put a little shading like this. You might put a little bit of a shadow, but we don't need to put a big black dot. We're just indicating that that is there. Next, we're going to indicate these round parts on the side. And I tell my students that these are almost like parentheses that go around the side of your nose. And they're mostly above what we've already drawn. It's this sort of side of your nose where if you smile, it scrunches up, and sometimes there's a line here where your cheek is. I don't know what you would call this part of the nose, but I just call it nose parentheses because they look like parentheses. I know that's silly. Now this part up here that's the cone shape and the very tip of your nose that we know is sticking out at us, that's the hardest part to draw. And the key is not to draw much of it. So to indicate the round part here, I might just put a little shadow on the bottom of this center, that the shadow is kind of curving a little bit. Because if you think about it, normally light is coming from the top down, and light is hitting the top of the nose first, but underneath the nose probably is shaded. It's probably in shadow. So you can put a little shadow here. Already that makes this part of the nose feel like it's sticking out at me. You could put a little bit of a line on either side of that just to kind of show a roundness, but there's not much there. You don't put a solid line. And depending on the nose, you might not draw any of this cone. Think about like a child has really soft features, and a lot of times there's not as much definition in this part of the nose, so you might not draw anything there. Just depending on the person you're drawing. If somebody has a more distinguished looking nose, or maybe their face is just turned more to the side and you can see more of that line, you may draw a little bit of that line, especially up at the bridge of the nose. You might draw a little bit here, but I would do maybe a little bit of shading really gently to just show that there's some structure there, but it's not a solid line all the way down like our picture over here. So I'm trying to communicate the form that we know is there without overdoing it with the lines. Like I said before, if this person is smiling or just depending on their expression, you might have a little bit of a scrunched cheek right here. And so you'll just observe what that person's doing, and then we'll work your way down to where the mouth is. We'll do another video about drawing mouths, but the mouth would be about here. And this line kind of almost connects to that in a lot of cases, or corresponds to that. So that's drawing the nose. If you want to keep it more simple and you don't want to do all of that, you can just do, and I always feel like I need to have the eyes when I'm doing a nose drawing, so I know where I'm at. You can always do the tiny smile, 2 little shaded lines for the nostrils, and the nose parentheses. And that is a really basic way to do a nose that's not too complicated. Maybe 1 little line up here. If you want to go even more basic and you're doing maybe just a cartoon, you could always just do the little line that's like a tiny smile. Maybe extend that upwards a little bit and give yourself a little simple cartoon nose. And that would work too, just depending on what you want to draw.